Hello, it is me, Lady Helen. I'm so excited that you guys are tuned in to joining me on this reading journey as we're reading the book People Person. Again, we've been introduced to our characters, who they are. We've learned about their dad, how he he popped up in their life, he left their life, etc. And now we're kind of being focusing on one of the main characters. Her name is Dimple, and obviously Dimple has she has daddy issues that are reflected in her choice in relationships, etc. So if you haven't already seen the previous videos, you can go back and you can watch them until we get here. So right now we are in chapter 6. Okay, so chapter 6, let me tell you something. Chapter 6 starts off with Dimple's mom. She's coming back from out of town. Now imagine you're coming back from out of town, your kid is at home. Okay, and when I say she's a kid, she's like in her late 20s, almost early 30s. And imagine you're a parent and you did not know, number one, your daughter was getting it in with her boyfriend that she's been with for 3 years in your home while you're not there. And you're thinking that she's keeping the house, she's doing whatever that she normally does, but everything is in order. Because imagine that a almost murder took place in your home. Can you imagine an almost murder taking place in your home? So one of the lessons that we learn is that you always have to pay attention. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on in your home. Notice the changes. So it's good that you notice changes that happen in your home. So it's once you notice the changes that happen in your house, then you are able to ask questions. So you can actually use that in real life. So you'll be able to do that in real life. You'll also be able to notice the various the various red flag. All right. So before I get to that character, let me start here. Remember, we learned the lesson. Dimple mom obviously didn't pay attention to what was going on at her house and everything. Now we get to this part where Kyron is actually alive. Remember, I told y'all last time his body had disappeared from the back of the truck. She thought that her brothers that had buried him or something and didn't tell her, and they moved it quickly so she couldn't see. But that was not the case. Kyron is actually alive. So there's some ladies who end up finding Kyron at the park, and they looked at him and they was like, "Hey, brother, you okay?" And they turn out to be doctors, so they end up getting him to the hospital so he can get the necessary care he need. While he was at the hospital, he didn't give the hospital his full name. He told him that his name was Kevin versus Kyron. So if his mom was calling around, which we knew she was, because imagine you as a parent, you haven't seen your child in dang near weeks and weeks, then you're like, "Where's my baby?" I'm calling the coroner. I'm calling the police station. I'm calling the prison. I'm calling every hospital in the region, every hospital outside of my region, right? But they wouldn't have been able to give her a name, or at least let them know, "Hey, yeah, he's been here," because he did not give them his real name. He told them that his name was Kevin. And once he kind of came to and he felt the back of his head where that scar was from when he had fell down and he had bleed because it was really bad. He was able to go to the bathroom, and then once he went to the bathroom, he like pulled all the things that was in his arm, like all the needles, all these machines and stuff. He like pulled it all out of him because he didn't want to fool with any hospitals, and he didn't want to fool with, I'm sorry, my background is so loud. I was telling you, his mom was like really, really looking for him. And while his mom was like looking for him and everything, he gave the hospital the wrong name. So mom wouldn't have been able to find him. So here we go. Now we got this thing called a sneaky link. All right, so in the United States, a common term for a boy that a man that you see that's not your man or that's not your husband is called a sneaky link, which means y'all kind of have this like relationship, but you don't really have a relationship. It's kind of like it's just a sexual thing. So it's just like y'all just have sex with each other. Okay, so that's what a sneaky link is. So we find out Dimple got a sneaky link, but what is funny is that the sneaky link is friends with Kyron.
I know you fucking lying. Cause what the fuck?
Right? So the sneaky link that we're introduced to, his name is Rodney. And Dimple really likes Rodney. When Dimple actually first met Kyron, she met Kyron and Rodney at the same time. However, for whatever reason, she was more attracted to Kyron. And then when Dimple would break up with Kyron, she ended up, sneaking around with Rodney. But Rodney was kind of extra careful with her because he would use protection with her. He wouldn't have unprotected sex with her or anything like that. Thus far. Okay. As you see, and Kyron really knew how to satisfy Dimple. He knew her body. He knew how her body works, what she like. Unlike Kyron, who we later find out some different things, and we'll talk about that as we get there. So Rodney really wanted to be exclusive with Dimple. He didn't want to just sleep with her. He didn't want it to be her sneaky link. He wanted to be her man or whatever. And he was tired of every time that her and Kyron would break up, that okay, now we can be together, because he felt like he was just leftovers or a rebound or something. But he really loved Dimple, and he really wanted to be in an exclusive relationship. And there we go, it started revealing the daddy issues that Dimple actually had. Relationship, he was always jumping from one. Okay, so now we begin to see kind of the effect of the daddy issues Cyril began to have on Dimple, because she wasn't able to stay consistent in a relationship, and she was always jumping from person to person. One would venture to say like father, like daughter, right? Normally we say like father, like son, but in this situation, it's really more like father, like son, and that she doesn't know how to find love and how to value herself, because the relationship that Kyron and her had was very toxic. However, Roman was like that guy that really just wanted to love her for who she was, every bit of her, the good, the bad, the ugly. However, she was so stuck on Kyron, she could not see the good guy that was actually in her face, and people do that in real life. So this ain't nothing new under the sun. That's why I say this book is really it really tackles some really deep issues of commitment. It tackles issues of healthy relationship, and it actually deals with young people. So I think this is a really great book for young adults, older people, etc. So just to remind you, if I had not told you already, what you find out in chapter 2, that she's a person who does recording. She's on Facebook, like you're watching me. She has a small audience. Dimple audience at this point was like the size of my audience, right? And so she has a small audience. There's people who come and keep up with her, but etc. But she still turns on the camera. She records. She talks about her life. She talks about what's going on in her relationships. And as you know, Kyron does not like that. So Kyron's mom invited her over, and she's really desperate to find her son. And Kyron's mom, as Dimple, she says, "Hey, I know you have a little following on YouTube, and a lot of people watch your stuff." And Dimple was like, "Look, I'm not saying like everybody watches my stuff, but there are a few people that watch my stuff, but I'm not like a major influence. She's not like a Just Pearly Things or something like that." So anyway, she was like, "Well, I mean, anything would help." And so she was like, "Could you please record it?" And she told her, "Well, I'll record it Monday." So then she ended up calling her sister to come pick her up, and she was like, "Man, I kind of stuck my finger in my mouth." And she was like, "What?" And then she told Keisha, she was like, Kyron's mom asked me to record of "Have you seen him?" type video, and then Keisha was like, "What did you tell her?" Right, and then she was like, "I told her, sure, I'll do it Monday because I had some other things to do. I want to talk to you, etc." And she was like, "Oh my God, why would you tell her?" "Yes, I told you, no recordings, no nothing. We have to find out first of all what happened to Kyron. Where is he at? Because mind you, they don't know that Kyron is still alive. They don't know where he's at. Okay, they have not seen him. So during this chapter 6, it's taking us Dimple's view to Kyron's view, to Dimple's view to Kyron's view. Okay, but each of them have not seen each other since the day of the big accident when Kyron busted his head at Dimple's house, and then of course they were trying to bury him. So that Monday he goes and he takes she does the recording, and she was like, she ended up recording a video on the Monday, and when she recorded that video, baby, she went viral. Okay, she went viral. She got up to 50,000 subscribers, like on Instagram. Her YouTube started blowing up. People start reaching out to her because she would do her skincare routine and all this type of stuff, all because of Kyron's video. And she kind of felt a kind of way about it, but she did everything with a straight face and didn't even begin to think about it twice. So she done the video. Now when she had went to done the video, and that's when she was feeling a certain way and she just wanted to be around somebody, and she didn't want to call Keisha. She didn't want to be around none of those other people, so she called Roman. Baby, she went over to Roman's house. Her and Roman do what they do or whatever, and again she liked Roman because Roman Roman knew how to handle her. But then she goes over to Roman's house. Then the scene end up going back to Kyron, and so he's out the hospital because he ended up running out the hospital and everything, and then he goes to his sneaky link. Yes, Kyron has a sneaky link.
I know you fucking lying, cause what the fuck?
Woo! So Kyron has a sneaky link too, and her name is Jenna. Jenna. And so of course he comes, and she was like, "Oh my God, Kyron, what's the matter with you?" His wound is still fresh. He has the stitches in the back of his head, and he was like, "Look, I just need to be somewhere for a couple of weeks so I can get myself together," because he's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. He's trying to figure out, how did little old Dimple, Dimple not a little girl, but how did little old Dimple knock the hell out of me, put me in a car, and she don't got no friends, and I end up at the hospital because he suffers some memory loss. But but I ain't trying to spoil anything, but he do remember that he heard Dimple's voice, but he don't remember anything else. But he knew Dimple was there, and he's getting pissed. So then Jenna's like, "How the hell you gonna come over here and you got your girlfriend looking for you?" And he was like, "We're broke up, what are you talking about?" And he was like, no y'all not, I seen the video Dimple posted, right? Because she looking at, because since she's a sneaky link, and obviously Dimple is the main girl, she's checking her posts, just like normal people would do. So she tell what's his name? She said she ended up telling Kyron. She told Kyron, she was like, I don't even know why you here. And then Kyron started kissing on her and all that stuff like that, making her feel all good. And she ended up showing her the video. He look at it like, oh, she doing that. She doing that to get likes and views. Y'all know how we do. You know how we get mad when y'all be like, they doing that for likes and views. So he was pissed off. He was like, when I get better, I'm gonna get her or whatever. So he was mad about that, but he ended up just loving on Jenna. He had somebody to go to, somebody to talk to, somebody who embraced him, etc. And that's what most sneaky links do. They provide 20% of the 80% that the other person is actually looking for, or whatever. So he was with her, and she helped mend him up, and she ended up giving him some sloppy toppy. And again, it goes into much detail, since I'm not gonna necessarily go into much detail here, but it got sloppy, toppy, heated, all that stuff. So, they did what they did. So, Dimple was doing her thing. Kyron is doing her thing. So after Dimple, we go back to Dimple and Roman. Roman is like, look, I want to be serious. And she was like, well, we can't be, I guess, or whatever, because me and Kyron, we really broke up. I'm not going back. It's over. And all that. But Kyron really doesn't, not Kyron, sorry. Roman really don't believe her and everything. But anyway, so she left and she was like, look, Lynette is calling me. I need to go see what she wants. So she goes over to Lynette's house. And Lynette sat her down and she was asking her, she was like, okay, now tell me, when was the last time you seen Kyron? Because Mama is doing what Mama do. She's trying to get every information, making sure what she said is what she continued to say and all of that. She's trying to she's just trying to get an idea of where her son could be. And then she ended up asking Dimple, hey, how did it go when you recorded? And she told him, she was like, some people were saying they seen him here, some people were saying they seen him there, and whatnot. And she was looking this woman dead in her face, knowing good and well what happened. But anyway, I don't think I could say it's really, really good. So, our next video is going to have chapter 7 through 9. Chapter 6 was really long, and then you'll notice like some of the chapters are really, really long. And so that's why I took a whole video and kind of dedicated to chapter 6. But as we're going to speed along this, we're going to get to 7 and 9, and I'm going to go over there. So I hope you are enjoying this book as much as I have. And you know that if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Enjoy the story time, honey, because we done hit that climax, and now it's time to go down to the falling action, because there are some things that is about to happen that is just gonna it's kind of take you on a twist. I told you, it's like watching a good Netflix a series or something. It's a really good book, and it's called People Person. And you get kind of the cultural experience there, because here I am, American, and I'm reading a book that's written by an African American, but an African British person, a Black Brit, that's what they call them, Black Brits, British person. And to see that our culture is so, just because we're on different side of the world, our cultures are so, oh my God, so much alike, in the social issues that are addressed in this book is absolutely written to perfection. All right. Well, until next time, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell to know when I'm going live or I'm doing a premiere. And you're like, Lady L, I don't see you when you're going live. Well, if you don't see me when I'm going live, make sure you go into your iPhone settings and go into your notifications. Make sure those are your YouTube notifications. Make sure those are turned on. So if you're not getting the notifications there, you can go inside of your settings, your YouTube settings inside your phone, hit that thing so you can get notified every time I post new content. Until next time, tell me what y'all thinking below, because this is juicy. All right, bye guys.